This is Morning Juice. Sports, insight, and great storytelling. Starring Bobby Carpenter and Jeff Tito Thidoff. It's time to attack and dominate.
Morning Juice, here we go. On a Wednesday. Look across from us, Bobby.
He's back.
The man is back from his long vacation.
Looking refreshed.
Looking good.
Yeah. Feeling refreshed.
That sounds almost believable. I'm Tito, Bobby Carpenter to my left. Shark on the other side there. I tell you, Bobby, I'm watching the camera here on YouTube with us now. I've got to start paying more attention to how often I wear the same shirts.
Yeah, I wear the same shirt every day. I wear my Rooster shirt.
You do the Rooster thing every day, but I feel like I'm going to be judged. Like in my rotation, we get to this age, Bobby. There's not a lot of variety.
You know what's interesting is my father-in-law said about at least 6-7 years ago that his goal was not to buy any more new clothes before he died. He said he felt like he had a nice catalog at this point. There's no reason to add to it. Didn't need to grow out of anything, grow into anything. In a good spot of life. So occasionally I'll give him some stuff that I get. You know, we get a lot of stuff over the years, and he'll add some things in. But as far as buying of new clothes, he's like, I'm pretty good. Now I do buy shoes because I will wear those out. But it's like, how many times do you have to wear a T-shirt to wear it out? You know, you got to be wearing it a long time to really get some holes in it and make it look nice and ratty.
And that's what you tune in for, Morning Juice, every week to hear us talk about my clothing and Bobby bringing up death again.
That wasn't me.
You brought up death again, Bobby. He don't want to buy any more clothes before he dies. That's a morbid thought for me.
For the rest of his life. My mom, I know, doesn't need to buy any more clothes, and she probably doesn't need to buy any more shoes either. I'm almost to that point. I think I have enough clothes over the course of my life, and I have some. I've actually saved a lot of my clothes from when I was playing in the NFL and in college. Because number one, I was convinced that styles all come back, and they do. And so I've got some of my high school flare cut jeans that are coming back that I'm going to start wearing. But then I also kept my NFL stuff because I was 15 to 20 pounds bigger. And I'm like, if I ever do decide to just give up, I'll be able to wear those clothes again. I kept one of my old suits that's a 54. The rest of them now are all 44. So, yeah.
I don't like the way you looked at me when you said if I decide to just give up.
Came back, though.
I know, but it felt very judgy.
But then got back in the game.
I'm back there.
I mean, you lost a bunch of weight. Yeah. You had given up, and then at some point you got up off the deck. It was kind of like, have you seen Rocky 2?
No.
Okay.
How
about the first one, though?
No, that starts with 3. 3 is the first one. It's like the Star Wars thing. 3 is really 1, if you ask me. Okay. You know, that's... He came back in 3.
He did come back in 3, but you wouldn't get the analogy to him climbing off the ropes in 2. Now, Shark would. I mean, that was what the whole, and even in 1, that was going the distance of being able to get up at the end.
So they fought twice?
Yeah, it was the rematch.
He and Apollo, yeah.
Yeah. Did they split? Did they go
Spoiler
1-1?
alert.
I know. This is over 40 years ago.
Apollo won.
Spoiler alert.
And Rocky won.
And then Rocky
2.
He just wanted to go the distance in Rocky 1.
That's all. That was his goal. Rocky 2 in the rematch, a fantastic finish where they both went down at the same time.
I will say this. Adrian aged well.
She did.
She looked a lot. I've seen pictures from YouTube clips made from the first 2 Rockies.
She actually got prettier as it went on. Aging well. But then also... We made the point, one of my friends, Rocky became wealthier and got more money, so she had access to better opportunities then, better hairstylists, better makeup, all of those different things. With that, what's interesting, then they fought at the end of the 3rd one, but you don't get to see the fight.
I remember.
That's actually referenced in Creed.
Hey, I've got the ding ding somewhere in the dad here.
There
with Apollo
you go.
doing with the mouthpiece in.
Yeah.
Ding, ding. That one, I've got that in here somewhere, but... Anyway, yeah, Rocky 3, by the way, Rocky did win the rematch with Clubber Lang. So just breaking news on that one as well. Last night, Bob.
Also breaking news, Carl Weathers has passed away.
Carl Weathers, dead.
Burgess Meredith, too.
He's also dead. Burt Young?
Burt Young is...
Didn't he just die?
I think he just
in
passed
the
away.
last 6 months?
We just talked about he was just in Today in History as of the last couple months.
And again, I bring up death on this show. Morning Juice brought to you by Death. Big show line for you today. Gerber's going to join us. Talk about the memorial. He's going to be jumping on with us at 7:20 this morning. Austin Ward taking a week off from spending time with us. I don't know why, if it's something personal or not, that he doesn't like me or doesn't like
He's
you,
on
Shark.
vacation.
Well, that's what he says. Reds beat the Kansas City Royals last night 7-2. They'll play tonight in KC at 7:40. Dodgers over the Guards 9-5. They wrap up the series at 110 in Cleveland. Kershaw on the mound for the Dodgers. NBA Eastern Conference Finals. Knicks fall to the Pacers 130-121. Pacers lead 3-1. OKC looks to close out Minnesota tonight out west at 8:30. Thunder lead that one 3-1.
Gosh, that's going to be a banger of a series.
That
Indiana Pacers
Oklahoma
and Oklahoma City Thunder, just what the NBA wanted to see. Two of the biggest markets in America.
Did you hear your boy McAfee last night?
Oh, Pat's the best. Yes.
We got that sound. We'll play it for you.
Oh, we're definitely
going
to play it.
Western Conference Finals, Edmonton over Dallas in the NHL. Oilers lead that series 3-1. Florida and Carolina tonight at 8 o'clock. Panthers lead that one 3-1. And now, Bobby, I've delayed it long enough and dragged this out too far as it is. Let's do some today in history.
Time to get smarter. Morning Juice presents Today in History. Here's your professor, Bobby Carpenter.
All right, Bobby, what do you got for us today?
Oh, goodness. What do we have today? Well, we have ourselves a Wednesday. It is May 28th. I mean, Shark, we're almost getting to the 31st of June. Your favorite day of the year, you said.
You know, the 1st of June, Bob, you know what that means?
1st of July?
1 month.
Oh, yeah. It's 1 month out for you, man. You'll be staring. I mean, you're just, Shark, to say it's in the horizon, dude, you're like Christopher Columbus and you found the land. You're just waiting to get for the tide to bring you in.
Yep. 5 weeks from today will be my first day of retirement.
Gosh. I'm not even sure how to handle that.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild. It is the 148th day of the year, 217 days remaining in this 2025. This date in 1830, Andrew Jackson signs the Indian Removal Act, moving all of the Native Americans in the eastern part of the United States to west of the Mississippi River. Those in the south, a lot of the Florida tribes, they went to Oklahoma, and then the rest of them in the northern area went to Kansas, Shark. So not one of the greatest moments in American history, to say the least.
For us.
That's how they felt they had to deal with it at the
What they do
time.
with Oscar Gamble at that point?
Oscar Gamble. I don't know who that is.
He's
I
played
think
for the
he was
Indians.
Native American.
He's played for the Indians. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Good for you there, Thidoff. This date, 1937, Volkswagen is founded, the German automaker. 1975, Stampede by the Doobie Brothers. Their 5th album is certified gold. How do you like Stampede, Shark? Where's that at in your catalog? Of
Boy,
Doobie Brothers?
I don't even remember that album. I only had the Doobie Brothers' greatest hits.
Was that because you were on some doobies?
Was Michael McDonald always in the band?
I don't think so.
He came on. 'Cause I like he's got a great voice, and I love the music he did. I don't like much of the older Doobie stuff.
Or like new doobies better. That's
Yes.
good, Thidoff.
Right.
Speaking of Rocky 3, Eye of the Tiger in Rocky 3 opens in theaters. Sly Stallone said he wanted a Chicago band to help put together the theme song, and Eye of the Tiger by Survivor was created.
What year was that?
82, right?
82.
82.
Yeah.
The first one was 76.
I think it was 76
Yeah.
and then
79, I think.
8 or 79.
78, 79. Yeah, it's wild. I remember when I went and watched all those through the 90s, and I couldn't believe how old they were then. And now looking at them, it's...
Did you ever see the video for that song that Survivor did for MTV? It's hilarious. Seeing these 5 awkward, nerdy white guys walking in like a triangle down the street while the song's playing. Like it's the lead singer and then 2 and then 3 behind them and trying to look so tough. It's one of the best cheesy videos. It's like Journey Separate Ways cheesy.
And then 1 year later, Flashdance. What a Feeling by Irene. Is it Sarah or Cara?
Cara.
Irene Cara.
Rest in peace.
It's
Irene
number
Cara.
1. This is a great one. I mean, listen, just a girl from a Pittsburgh steel town, just trying to do the best she can, Shark, Leonardo da Vinci, his last, he did pass away, Shark, just a few years back, I think. His Last Supper is placed back on display in Milan after 22 years of being restored. Put back to its place where it can be finally viewed again. Then this date, 2002, the final steel girder is removed from the World Trade Center Ground Zero. Closing ceremonies on Ground Zero for cleanup happened today.
On behalf of a grateful nation, I want to thank all those who participated in the cleanup of that deadly site, and want our nation to continue to offer our prayer to those families and friends and citizens who still hurt.
And that was President George W. Bush. And then this day, 2006, a big day for Shark. One of his favorites is Barry Bonds. Hits his 715th home run, passing Babe Ruth for second all-time on the list.
The pitch. Bonds hits one high. Hits it deep to center. Out of here. 7:15. The wait is over, and they are on their feet here at AT&T Park. Bonds passes Babe Ruth. He is second on the all-time home run list.
It's amazing. Everybody sounded so happy, Shark. Why is everyone so...
They didn't know.
All those damn cheaters ruined baseball.
Exactly. Every one of them that was playing then. Either you're permitting it or promoting it.
Killed the numbers. That's just
killed the numbers. Listen, let's go back to that one sports league with the steroids. Let's get that going again. That's coming back.
Yes.
The Juice Olympics.
Yes.
Some birthdays today. One of the greatest athletes of all time. Ironically born on this date on the Indian Removal Act is signed because of his Native American heritage. Won 2 gold medals, which were restored, played professional baseball, played professional football, Pro Football, College Football Hall of Fame. Jim Thorpe, born on this day, 1988. Where's he rank in the
Not
Pantheon?
1988.
1888, sorry. Pantheon
You've been to the Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah, he's up there.
You walk into the lobby, in the original lobby with the rotunda, and there's Jimmy Thorpe.
Yeah, one of the greatest athletes of all time.
Yep.
We're on this date, 1938, the 10-time first-team All-Pro, the 1972 NBA champion, and the 69 Finals MVP, the only man still to win in a loss, I believe.
I believe he is, yes. When that, yeah, that might be the first year they gave out that award, too, wasn't it, Shark? Or,
Don't know. I wasn't around.
Whatever, Shark. I'm not going to play this game with you
Mr.
today.
Jerry West.
I'm not going to say how many NBA final losses, those damn Celtics, and exhilarating victories. But the one I cherish most was with a group of fellow amateurs at the 1960 Olympics. As I stood on the gold medal stand in Rome next to my friend and soon-to-be adversary, Oscar Robertson, I thought about my brother, David, who had died fighting in Korea when I was 13, and how proud I was to represent the United States of America in West Virginia, in the state of West Virginia.
What a great line.
He was the first winner of the award, first in 1969. Only one person eligible for the Hall of Fame that's won the Finals MVP is not in the Hall of Fame.
That's won a Finals MVP.
Only one player has won a Finals MVP that's eligible for the Hall of Fame, but is not in the Hall of Fame.
Cornbread Maxwell.
That's the one. Good job. 81.
Good job, Shark. Look at that.
You ought to have your own sports trivia show.
Exactly.
Nah,
what are you going to do when you're done here? What are you going to do when you're done
He's
here?
going to listen to us and critique us. We're going to get text messages and stuff like that. And
I'll be on the YouTube chat every day.
Yes, you will be.
Absolutely, you will. Turning 81, Gladys Knight and her friends, the Pips. Wish we would have got some sound from that. That's Parcells. He used to work out to Gladys Knight all the time.
Did he really?
Yeah.
The midnight train to Georgia?
Yeah, you'd come in the weight room and he'd be on the elliptical, and that's what's playing in there. Bill loved it. Kirk Gibson. Oh, we didn't get the home run out of this either. Turning 68 today, the 2-time World Series champ. The first pinch hit walk-off in a Game 7 off Dennis Eckersley. Who's faster, you think, Sean Casey or Kirk Gibson in that
era, that time?
That broken ankle trot that he had.
Oh. Yeah, well, Sean Casey He didn't have any excuses.
What about Kruk?
He just
just
ran
enough.
like he had a piano
How
on his
about
back.
how about Cecil Fielder?
That too?
Kirk Gibson was, I think, the leading receiver for Michigan State one year.
Tight end.
I think you are correct in saying that. Glenn Rice turning 58, the three-time All-Star and 2000 NBA champ. One of my favorites here. We lost him in 2016, but I'll call him North America's mayor, the 64th mayor of Toronto, Rob Ford.
Yes, I have smoked crack cocaine. Do I? Am I an addict? No.
When have you
Have I
smoked
tried it? Probably in one of my drunken stupors. Olivia Gondak. It says that I wanted to eat her piece of Olivia Gondak. I've never said that in my life to her. I would never do that. I'm happily married. I've got more than enough to eat at home. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to apologize. Again, I've made mistakes. Apologizing and saying sorry, you can only say that so many times. I have apologized. I know. I embarrassed everyone. I don't know what to say. I sincerely apologize.
Sounds apologetic.
A lot of follow-ups there. The more sincerely as you throw in there. He passed away, unfortunately, but he was like if you would have made Chris Farley mayor of Chicago.
I think Farley would have done a better job. I think Farley would have done a better job of being a mayor than that guy did.
Rob Ford, people's champ. And then Percy Harvin turning 37 today. And then passing away on this date in 2010, you lost Gary Coleman. In 1998, gosh, I was so angry with his wife. One of the funniest guys around. Played the great straight guy in all of the shows where everyone else would be laughing, be whatever. But Phil Hartman passing away on this date, 1998.
Uh-oh. We've drawn Judge Snyder.
Is it bad?
Well, he's had it in for me ever since I kinda ran over his dog.
You did?
Well, replace the word kinda with the word repeatedly and the word dog with son.
It's him from The Simpsons. His ability to deliver those lines. I don't know if it's the pausing, if it's like the pace, whatever it is. But Phil Hartman's voice, he just always brought it out. Oh, man, some holidays observances today. It is Amnesty International Day. It's International Hamburger Day as well, National Brisket Day. So nice little day for the meats. But also, Shark, National Senior Health and Fitness Day.
Oh, good.
Which is
Good
the
for
last Wednesday in May. How about that? And then World Otter Day, which is also the last Wednesday in May. And those are your historical events, your birthdays, your passings, your holidays, observances for this date. Wednesday, May 28th, the 148th day of the year, and 217 days remaining in this 2025.
But not for Shark. Shark's only got 30-some days left.
Oh, not even work days? I mean, what are we talking about?
I know. All right, coming up. Nice job, Bobby. You always do a fantastic job on that. The hearty laugh about the Phil Hartman thing. I'm a little disappointed we didn't get the news radio clip in that instead. I thought he was great. News radio was such a great show.
He's great in everything. Like you could, I mean, Phil in the Matt Foley motivational speaker. Like everybody else is losing it, and he's just sitting there. I don't know how he could do that. You know, he's so good. He was the ultimate like straight guy for all of those, where he could just sit there and deliver the line.
Yeah. Coming up next, we've got OTAs going on and some key players are missing. Big deal or no deal? We'll do that next. Morning Juice.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies. Because when people don't have to worry about where their next meal is coming from, they can truly thrive. Like Marta.
And now we'll hear from our class valedictorian, who with our hard work never ceases to amaze us. Please welcome Marta Moreno.
And Alex.
Hey, Alex, how did the interview go?
I did it! I got the job! I can't believe it!
I knew it. Let's meet up later to celebrate.
And Diego.
Mom! I got first place at the science fair with my volcano project.
That's amazing, sweetie. Congratulations.
Because when people are fed, futures are nourished, and everyone deserves to live a full life. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/actnow. feedingamerica.org/actnow. A public service announcement brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
While serving in Vietnam, a grenade took my ability to see. Today, I'm a sculptor. Now,
My fingers are my eyes. I'm Michael Naranjo. As a veteran, I know the challenges of life can be great. In my art, turning a lump of clay into something beautiful, that is worth doing. Life is like that. We each must use what we can to make things better.
DAV helps veterans like Michael get the benefits they've earned. They help more than 1 million veterans every year in life-changing ways.
Now, I show others how they can create something with their own hands. I know it can do a lot of good. With support from DAV, more veterans can shape their lives into a thing of beauty. My victory is bringing beauty into the world.
Michael Naranjo, may your victories inspire many more. Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
1 in 4 Americans today are living with a disability. I'm one of them. I care deeply about creating a world we can all fully participate in, free from stigma, misperceptions, and barriers. And we've got a trusted ally on our side, an organization we can rely on, Easter Seals. Rooted in communities nationwide, Easter Seals helps empower millions of people, regardless of age or disability, through its life-changing services and powerful advocacy. Today and every day, Easter Seals is leading the way to full equity, inclusion, and access to healthcare, employment, and education for people with disabilities, families, and communities. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours. Learn more and get involved at easterseals.com.
Bobby's knees hurt from doing battle with some of football's toughest warriors. Tito's knees hurt from begging Bobby to let him host this show.
Oh, pick me! Oh, I know, me!
This is Morning Juice.
Morning Juice. Tito, Bobby, Shark with you. Something we didn't get to, didn't mention, I should say earlier, to say we didn't get to it. But anyway, they brought up the chat, and I remember seeing this yesterday. Rick Derringer passed away.
Oh, boy, you just took my what has you juiced for today. It's all right. I'll come up with something else.
Better Rick Derringer than Tom Berenger. Do you think they're related?
They're only off by a letter.
Schleg's asked me.
Did he?
Yeah.
They're close. But I didn't know Derringer also did the did the Hulk Hogan entrance song or something. He wrote that piece, the American whatever, came into the ring. That was a Derringer.
American Woman? I thought that was the Guess Who.
That's the Guess Who also. But there's something America with Hulk
America
Hogan's,
the Beautiful.
Maybe that's what it is. That he would enter the ring to. That was also him. And then I guess he did a lot of work with Weird Al Yankovic as well.
Oh, I like that.
So Derringer, one of those famous. No, not that guy. That guy who did that one thing. That's him.
That guy who did that one thing.
Yep.
You know what? It's better to be that guy that did that one thing than the guy that did nothing.
There you go. That's also from the Irene Cara song. The Pat McAfee last night was in Indiana. That's where he
lives. So
yeah, he was there for the game, I should say. Yes, I know he lived.
Pat McAfee last night was at the Pacers game.
There we go, at the Pacers game.
Made it pretty easy because he lives in Indianapolis.
That's a much cleaner way to put it. Here is what McAfee did to kind of get the crowd excited.
Indianapolis, Indiana. We got some big wigs from the big city in the building. Spike Lee is here. Ben Stiller is here. Timothy Chalamet is here. Let's send these sons of bitches back to New York with their ears ringing. Let's turn this on!
That is the man. I mean, that might as well have been the WrestleMania intro.
The Pacers players were laughing, but Rick Carlisle was not. He was like, dude, come on.
Yeah, but he's like, let's send them back with their ears ringing. It wasn't like, let's just get it loud. Here's the thing. The players loved it. The coach, they view it as a distraction. But the fans, dude, you hear how it got you can hear it's the decibels rising right there. So that is something of significance to them. And so one of the things that Pat does better than anybody is engage the fans.
Was that planned, would you be surprised if it wasn't planned? Like, could McAfee just go, hey, no, hey, let me get the mic.
I don't know if they would. I don't know.
I think he's got that status now. I think they.
Listen, dude, this is still. I mean, it's still. It's a professional sport production.
Yes.
Okay, now he might be like the unofficial mayor of Indianapolis. He might do a better job mayoring Indianapolis than Rob Ford was doing mayoring Toronto. And Pat's never been elected. But I still don't know without like because someone would lose their job if they gave McAfee the mic, and he wasn't planning to have it. Now what he planned to say, now that I don't know if they can ever box that up.
No, there's no censors for him.
Here's the general theme of what I'm going to say, and you'll get the feel of it. But I don't know if you could ever say like, hey, this is the script. But I don't think he could go up and be like, hey, give me the mic at the next time out. Like, this is what I want to do.
I could see him do. First of all, I think he could, and I think that there'd be no one bat an eye.
I think Pat has too much respect. Like, he is big into the production process.
Sure.
I think that he may have talked to him about like earlier, but I don't know. Like, hey, you know what? Let's do this in the fourth quarter or whatever. Like, let's get everybody going to close out the game. And talk to somebody. Hey, you guys are good. Like, give me 10 seconds on the mic. But I don't think he would just be like, hey, hit me up with the mic. Like, let's go. This is my show. Look at me, Irish. I'm the captain now.
Okay.
Like, it's my show. I don't know if he's full all in like that. He probably would want it to. And here's the best part, Thedoff.
Yeah.
When you asking that question, that's all that needs to know is like how good he is at selling that with the impromptu nature where people think that, you know what, Pat McAfee may have just walked up there and asked for the mic, and I'll be damned if they didn't just give it to him because he's one of us.
Right. Yeah, he's American people is what he is. He's Indianapolis. Yes, that's what he is. And it wouldn't surprise me if something like that did go down. OTA's underway, Bobby, and there's players that are missing that shouldn't be surprised that they're missing. But like TJ Watt's not in Pittsburgh right now. He still wants a new deal. He's not there. James Cook from Buffalo is also not participating. Kyle Pitts in Atlanta, Kirk Cousins in Atlanta also not participating. So these guys, and I'm not surprised by Cousins or Watt or Cook. Pitts maybe a little bit, but
hey,
yeah,
you don't get what you don't ask for.
Is it a reason to be concerned, or is this just so damn early in the process?
It's early.
You should almost, because again, they're optional. They are voluntary type things here. I know that some people sometimes don't have work in their contracts where you need
workout bonuses.
You get workout bonuses and stuff.
Workout bonuses for attending these.
Right.
They're called organized team activities. I had to listen to a former producer on the station call them optional team activities. I'm like, that's not what the O stands for. I know that in theory you can make that argument because it's an O and it sounds like it would be good, but they're called organized team activities. But they are by the CBA qualification optional. But I remember when I was in New England and Bill was up there and getting ready to start, and he was like, listen, I know these are optional. And if you want to come, then be here. If you don't, then don't show up. But we're going to come here and we're going to work. And we're not going to come Monday and then not come Tuesday and then come on Thursday. We're going to come every day or we're not going to go at all. Now, if you have something planned and there's a family thing, I get it. Communicate with Bears. Otherwise, be here or be out. Either way, it's fine with me. Now break up offense, defense. And like that was like the week before we started, like our last week of lifting, or maybe that was the first day of OTAs. But it wasn't, I've got an appearance on this, and I've got that. If you've got a wedding, I understand. But don't give me this crap how you're going to show up when you want to.
So did he mean that? Like,
did he mean that? Yes, he meant that.
Because I know somebody might get a coach who says that just to see who really shows up and not. You know what I mean? It still might kind of hold it against them a little bit. But
if you're dumb enough to fall for the fact that says be here or not, I don't care.
Right.
Then you deserve everything that you get coming to you.
Yeah, I don't. That's why I didn't. When someone says that, it's like, wait, really? I don't have to be here?
His argument was, I don't want you telling me that you're coming every other day
Right.
Because you've got this activity or that. Like you've got an appearance at a mall, at a cell phone store. Like he would just lean in to all that. He's like, if you have a wedding or there's something that's going on, I get it. Go talk to your coach, let him know. But this crap, like you're just not going to show up because they build the practice sheet and the rotation pieces and everything. And like if you're just not going to show up, then it's a pain in the butt for them and it's a pain in the butt for everybody.
Is it, or when is it more important? When are OTAs important? Or who are they important for? For the rookies?
Guys. For the young guys, for sure. As an older guy, you can always get some work in. There's different things that you're trying to work on as you age. But it's really important for young guys or new guys entering a scheme where you can learn like what it is. Like when I went to a team for the first time, it's like, great. In Dallas, we put that same scheme in with Wade Phillips for 3 years in a row. And then you put it in training camp again. So it's like, okay, we have a little bit of things that are being tinkered in there. And, my role slightly changed each year that we were there. But if you're a guy who's been in it most of the time, like you can probably teach the OTA. I mean, you could probably go out there and teach the install. Or at least I hope that you could.
Right. Justin in the chat, by the way, has said that Ryan Day and Nick Saban are paired up today in the pro-am out there.
That's great.
That's pretty cool if that's the case. Not that Justin would lie to us, but I'm just saying that's a pretty cool thing, though. If that's the program's always a lot of fun out there. Rothman gets some great interviews. Didn't he get like Manning last year? Didn't he get? Did he get Pratt last year too?
You got Pratt, Steph Curry in the past. Those guys have all been here because they're all partners with Nationwide.
Yeah,
who used to be the title sponsor, but they're still heavily involved with it. So yeah, those guys all come in, and it's a big deal.
Would you play in the pro-am if invited?
Well. With ample warning, I would. But then I would have to actually do some work, which means I'd have to go practice golf every day for probably a month.
Right.
So that I could go out there and not just fully embarrass myself.
And you'd have to walk.
I get that exemption.
I got a bad leg.
After I'd already committed to it, I would go see a doctor, and I'd have, for one of my various ailments, be able to get some sort of cart thing. Or I might have Schlegs as my caddy.
You'd have a caddy, though. Yeah, you'd be fine walking it.
I don't care about carrying my own bags. I care about the functional act of walking. Do you think they have the Bev carts out there for the Pro-Am? I bet you could probably have patrons go and get you drinks.
You probably can. I don't think someone's pulling up with Cheetos and Gatorades for you to buy off the cart.
I don't want Cheetos and Gatorades.
I'm just saying, I don't think it's like that. I think that it's a...
by the way, who would eat something as messy as Cheetos when you're playing golf? You want your grips to be stained with that orange sauce?
That's fair, Bobby. I didn't... As soon as I said it, I knew I would get ridiculed for it. But yes, you're right. I eat Cheetos on the golf course. You don't want to do that. No.
Do I look like a Cheetos guy to you anyway?
You don't look like... I'm just saying that was just a generic thing that'd be on the cart you're asking about. No, that's all I'm saying.
I would probably eat some mixed nuts, and then I'd probably have about 7 transfusions.
Those
maybe
are good
6,
on the golf
one
course.
For every third hole.
Those are good on the golf course. By hole 15, you'd be in pretty bad shape. I think.
You would be in bad shape. I would be in fine shape.
I'd be fine.
I would start to be thriving at that point. Now, I would probably be sweating pretty significantly, although today's not very hot.
No. Today, the course plays well for your...
I might honestly have Schlegs caddy me, and then I would just hop on his back and ride him like a mule.
I could.
He could get the clubs and me and just run me up to my ball.
See, I think that would be pretty cool if you did that then. But the program they're going out there, I can't wait to hear Roth will be out there. I'm sure boots on the ground out there today, probably doing interviews and things like that. You go out there with program Shark?
No, I was going to.
And then it rained.
I'll tell you about it and what has you juiced.
Let's do it now. Okay. That's one. But yes, that's going on today. Thank you, Justin, for that tidbit on that one.
I would like to follow those guys just to see if you could pick up any nuggets of their conversation and just watch the interaction. I feel like with Nick being retired, a lot of guys are probably talking to him just about the state of college football in general, and maybe not specifics of what's going on. And Nick might bring up like Caleb Downs to him and Julian and Seth and talk about those guys that transferred up here. There might be those conversations, I'm guessing.
How would college football have been different last year if Saban had not retired?
Well,
and I'm not saying
Seth McLaughlin and Caleb Downs probably wouldn't have been on that team.
Okay.
Which you could argue would have been. Now, Seth obviously wasn't there for the 4-game run.
Right.
But he did help develop, I think, and his relationship with Carson was really good. And I think that helped Carson elevate his game to the next level as well. just by being able to learn and have that relationship with him. But Caleb was a very instrumental piece in the back end there. And not to say that they wouldn't have won it, but it would have looked different with them winning because he's one of the best football players in the country.
And you also know what happened with Alabama's fortunes then also. Not that DeBoer's a bad coaching like that, but the fact that, Saban, though, another year there.
It's the same system. He knew the team. You wouldn't have had the departures of guys.
Right.
And I don't know if that you could sit there and say that, hey, they would have been in the I think they would have been in the playoffs.
So do I. I think they would have been also.
I don't think they would have lost to Oklahoma 24-3 at the end of the season.
I don't think Saban would have let that happen.
And if a 10-3 team gets in, or a 10-2 team,
10-2 gets in,
Alabama gets in.
Yeah, and I wasn't trying to think because we can't say what happened with Ohio State. You can't say with any kind of a real conviction what would have happened with Ohio State if Alabama was still around. But I just think about as far as his retiring, how big of an impact it had on multiple programs just because of his departure.
Speaking of which, give me a little preview. We're going to give you a peek behind the curtain today in history.
Yeah.
24 years ago, golfer Casey Martin won his U.S. Supreme Court case that allowed him to use a golf cart for tournaments. So listen, it may be fortuitous that we're talking about this with me, that Casey was the trailblazer to be able to get that done.
Bobby,
myself.
Oftentimes, Bobby, when I think of you and people think of you and they see the workouts you've done and the shape you're in.
Golf is not a workout.
A lot of times we look at you and say, man, that's like Casey Martin right there when you watch Bobby walking around. No, it's not, Bobby. You are in fantastic shape.
Doesn't mean I'm not in pain.
Rocky wouldn't feel pain.
That's not what he said.
Chuck Norris doesn't feel pain.
It's not the line. Well, Chuck Norris,
I'm just telling you.
Different.
I'm just that you're in that pantheon for me, Bobby. So I don't want you to get a Casey Martin exemption.
Listen, that would be one of the great achievements in my life.
That's fantastic. Says the guy who won the 2002 national championship with Ohio State and gets to host a daily radio show with me and Shark. That'd be a great
exemption to be able to walk a course that isn't supposed to be utilized by carts. That's the real gem.
Coming up next in Quick Hitters. Some people that take your bets don't like Aaron Judge. We'll do that next. Morning Juice.
I'm a wife and the mother of 2 kids, and I've got a good job.
Bye, Mom. See you, Mom.
A pretty important job. Because of my family and my job, I really care about this neighborhood. It's a good neighborhood. Yes, there's some crime. And when I drive to work, like now, I realize that some people here don't trust the police. So the police should be reaching out to this community, and this community should reach out to the police. That's the way to make this a safer place. And when I get to work in the precinct house and put on my uniform, I can tell you as a police officer that this department is reaching out to the community, and the community is doing its part. We're building partnerships. This should be happening everywhere. This is how we can all be safer. Get involved. Start the conversation.
Start the conversation and help stop crime. To learn the 5 things you can do, go to ncpc.org/prevent violent crime. A message from the National Crime Prevention Council and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. They bring a variety of perspectives from diverse backgrounds, innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Achieving this takes skill and expertise. They're tireless explorers, creatively discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, experimenting, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, and connecting with each other, leading by example. Experience the unique joy of helping students thrive. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org, a campaign supported by the U.S. Department of Education, Teach.org, and 1 million teachers of color.
Around the world, Children International and friends like you are giving children in poverty a chance to grow and thrive, to be healthy, to succeed in school, and achieve great things. How do we do it? In the best way possible, by helping ensure access to healthcare, nutrition, and educational opportunities. And most importantly, by empowering youths and their families to get out of poverty and into employment through life skills, computer, and job training. The very tools they need to break the cycle of poverty and build futures full of promise. Because every child deserves a chance to realize their full and best potential. Learn more about how Children International is empowering children and families by going to children.org today. That's children.org.
Bobby is the all-American male. Tito pulled a hammy getting his mail. This is Morning Juice.
All right, Morning Juice. He's back in the saddle again. Let's do some quick hitters.
Morning Juice presents Quick Hitters.
Sponsored by Dr. Mark Levy. If you're snoring and not sleeping, call Dr. Mark Levy today at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP.
Shark.
Yes, sir. Reporting to duty, sir.
It was so nice to see your beautiful face today.
Thanks, Tito. Appreciate that. 84 years ago, 1941, Ted Williams batted .406 for the Red Sox. He was batting .39957, something like that, going into a doubleheader on the last day of the season. Could have sat, rounded up to 400. Instead, he played and went 6 for 8. Batted .406 for the Red Sox. It is the last time that a major leaguer has batted .400 in a season. Tony Gwynn came closest since then. He hit .394 in the strike-shortened 1994 season last night. In the Yankees 3-2 win over the Angels, Aaron Judge went 1 for 4, one-third of the way through the season. Judge is batting .395. Now, back on May 2nd, BetMGM first posted odds for Judge hitting .400 this season. It opened at plus 25,000.
Oh,
Bet
gosh.
$100, win $25,000. All right? On Monday, those odds were down to plus 15,000. Tito, let's face it. You make a bet on this, and it's going to be a donation.
Yes, it is. The guy from...
He's such a power hitter. It's amazing that, Ichiro didn't ever get close to this with all the hits that he had. What was his best batting average?
Ichiro, 370, I think, or something like that.
Did he bat a paltry 370?
No, Rod Crew got to 388 and 77.
Not Jewish, by the way. Adam Sandler told me that.
He is Jewish.
Oh, yes.
Isn't he?
He's from Panama.
I know, but I think he's a converted Jew-ish person.
You know what? He did say that. He is.
He's converted, yes.
O.J. Simpson. That's what it was.
That's the one, yes. He got the song right, yes. I think he is a Jewish,
Rod Carew did
Rod
convert.
Carew is Jewish, yes.
At least that's what Adam Sandler told me.
I was supposed to meet Rod Carew in Vegas at a friend's bachelor party.
Hanging out with Pete Rose, signing baseballs.
The guy, my friend at the time,
no longer a friend?
No, was marrying a woman whose godfather was Rod Carew. And so Carew was flying out for to meet everybody at the bachelor party in Vegas kind of thing, right? And I stayed up way too late the night before and missed it.
This is great.
And I overslept and missed Rod Carew, who was a fantastic player. Anyway, BetMGM.
Hey, Ichiro.
Yeah.
2004.
Yeah. 372.
Okay. He had 262 hits.
Yeah, that's the record. He broke Sisler's record for hits in a season. That's insane. I love how Pete Rose always to the end of his time was complaining that Ichiro, they were trying to count some of his Japanese hits. They say he's got all these different hits and everything. Pete's like, wait, Japanese baseball's like minor leagues for me. He said, if you put my minor league stats on there, I'd have more hits than Ichiro.
1980, George Brett hit 390.
That's right, 390 for George Brett. You only played 118 games that year, Shark. He didn't play that many games.
Let me see if I can confirm that.
You just did. You just looked it up. I told you.
117 games.
Played in 118. I'm just telling you, he played 118 games that year. I'm not wrong. The baseball card doesn't lie.
Pro Baseball Reference.
Yeah, that website's still under construction. But BetMGM's going to lose a lot of money if Judge hits 400 because there's been a lot of bets on him that obviously was significant odds. Somebody put a $2,000 bet.
Only one guy has ever done it. And by the way,
only one guy since 1940.
Yes,
since 41
in the modern era, and nobody since 41.
Right.
And you look at how Judge plays. He hits so many home runs.
Sure.
That is almost a complete anomaly that there would be a power hitter like him that would hit with an average like that.
Yeah.
So I get it.
All right.
Is that all you have to say?
That's
about
all I had to say. I just wanted to throw stats out there.
EA Sports will release its College Football 26 video game later this summer, but we already know who will be, maybe it's whom, will be on the cover. Coming off their national championship, the Buckeyes are featured specifically Jeremiah Smith, Caleb Downs, and Ryan Day. That is on the deluxe cover. On the standard cover, Jeremiah Smith is going to be featured. The worldwide release is July 10th, but Bob, you can pre-order now. The standard edition, $69.99. The deluxe edition, $99.99. What is the difference besides $30?
I think there is a way you can you get enhanced like dynasty play and roster building and things like that. You get like enhanced career, like if you want to create yourself in the world of the EA Sport of the game. You can get, there's different ways you can achieve levels faster as far as like different skills you may have.
Okay, there you go. I would probably buy the traditional. I was talking to EJ Manuel about this yesterday when we were doing XM together, and so I'm sure you get this. I was like, my kids actually, I think my third son Cullen would probably be into this. My older son RJ plays all like the first-person shooter games. But we did get a PS5 this year for Christmas, so this might be down the docket. But I haven't played this game since I was in college. I enjoy watching the game, but I'm good right there with that. I don't need to play it anymore.
Yeah, the deluxe edition, you watch it. It's got a bunch of people. Tebow's on it. In addition to it, Marcus Freeman's on it. There's some coaches on there as well. In addition to Ryan Day, Desmond's on it. Things like that. All these different. There's a lot of different.
There's the one where there's everybody in the background.
That's that one. Yeah, okay. That's that one. And then I think only one Buckeye. He's the first Buckeye to be on the college cover. Only one Buckeye's ever been on the NFL cover, and that was the first year they went with a player on the Madden cover.
Eddie George?
Eddie George was the first one.
Yes.
In 2001, I think it would have been. He was on the cover in his Titans or whatever. Yeah, Titans uniform, I guess, at the time would have been. I don't think they weren't the Oilers anymore at that point. But anyway, he was on that one, though.
Is this the kiss of death in college
it is in the NFL? It's not. It's not like that. No, it's not like the Madden cover, Jinx.
Because it never had current players on it before. This is a new.
It's always been
a new thing.
You're right. It used to be the guy.
Instituted it because you had to be on your way out of school to be able to get it done.
Right. And so that's the case on that. It's cool they're doing that. All three Buckeyes there on there. That's pretty cool. And I have not played in a long time. Did you play as yourself when you played the game in college?
Yeah, when I was in college, you'd always do that. That was like the coolest thing is when you would get to college and they'd have you and you were just player numbered.
You were 42 or whatever it was. Yeah.
Yeah, but they'd have like your hometown and what it was. They didn't have a picture up or anything, but that was cool just being able to see that and have yourself in a video game at that point.
Okay, so will you buy?
I don't. I still have a Sega Genesis. I've got a 1992 Sega Genesis is what we have in my house.
Wow.
Yeah.
Get off my lawn.
Artie doesn't play any video games?
He loves to. Yes, I never let him. We go to friends' houses. He'll play like when they've got he played Madden with a buddy this weekend. We were Memorial Day weekend and stuff. But yeah, he likes to. But he really got smart with football because when I'd let him play that like the 90, 91, 92 Madden games. And he would ask about certain players and their names and Hall of Fame and this. Emmitt Smith was on one of the games.
So he's still playing on the Genesis at your house?
Yeah,
that works?
That's
good for you.
Yeah.
That's amazing. It does.
Yeah. I used to play Stratomatic back in when I was in college in the late 70s. And
women just love Mark the Shark.
Cleveland Browns and Greg Pruitt led our Stratomatic league in rushing one year. We weren't very good, but that's all right. A month ago, the Houston Chronicle reported that the Texas Longhorns will spend $35 to $40 million on its 2025 football roster. Yesterday, Texas coach Steve Sarkisian went on SiriusXM to set the record straight. He called the report irresponsible reporting and said he wishes he had an extra $15 million to use on the roster. I have a feeling, Tito, that if we don't get some rules on NIL, $40 million is soon going to become the standard, at least for blue blood programs.
I think that's probably very accurate, Shark. I don't. We won't know what they really spent. I don't know. At least right now, they don't have to tell us what they really spent on those kinds of things. There's no transparency, and you don't have to talk about what you've offered players and stuff like that. None of that is is stuff that's for public knowledge now. It would not surprise me if they were at $40 million. It would not surprise me if someone, goes to $50 million or whatever it is. It's going to, because, look, alumni want to win. They want their program to win. I mean, I don't know what SMU was doing when how much they were paying out back in the Dickerson and Craig James days when they got the death penalty. I'd like to see, based on that, what they spent, how it would inflate to today's numbers, what it would look like as well. I remember Marcus Dupree once said before he went to Oklahoma, he said, I think, was it him or was it, him or Dickerson? One of them said they offered him an oil well to go to their school. I don't know if it was for SMU, if it was for Texas or where it was, but there was an offer of an oil well made to either, Dupree or Dickerson.
There we go.
So
here's the problem with this. There is a sustainability element to it. And Georgia saw this last year where you win 2 in a row and there's just like, all right, we've won 2 in a row. I don't need to donate another $1 million this year to get this done.
Yeah.
Because you're going to the same people over and over again. And when they've had success, it's like, all right, well, if we don't win it for a couple of years, we'll figure it out. And there just becomes donor fatigue on the fact that you're going back to the same spigots over and over. And so while I do think that, $40 million, that's real. I don't think if Texas won a national championship, I don't think they'd be spending 40 again. Or if they did, I don't think that would be into perpetuity that they would continue to do that. Now, there are some schools, like Texas Tech, I guess, their billionaire booster who just sold his oil company for $4 or $5 billion. They just have somebody that calls him and he sends money wherever, and maybe that goes into perpetuity. I don't know how that all works, but I just feel like there is some level of cap from being around it, talking to people on both sides of it, that the sustainability of this is not always there.
It's going to be interesting, Bobby, too, as we get further and further into this. Because it used to be, boosters, what they were called, obviously. It was the ones who did the stuff behind the scenes, sometimes illegal payments, things like that, promises made, jobs given out for not real jobs, and pay for people. And they've become now more, these donors are becoming more visible. I think there's the one, I heard the story about USC. One of the donors is talking about pulling his money out that he donates to the university if they discontinue the series with Notre Dame.
Yeah, well, you know what?
You're going to start seeing more and more things like that, where 100%. Guys who put the money in there are going to come out with public demands. The California people, right? I think they were upset about the fact that they wanted, Ron Rivera to have full control, and they said, we're going to start pulling money out if you don't let Ron Rivera be the general manager to control everything.
It's a handful of people that have big pocketbooks, and those people that are that rich are not used to being told no.
Right.
And so if they think that they have an idea of how it should operate, and maybe they brought Ron Rivera in, and they like Ron Rivera, and he's the guy they associate with, and listen, this guy's been NFL head coach, we want him to do this, and he gets carte blanche. We'll write the checks, but he's getting it done. So don't tell him how to run it. He's going to tell you. He's in charge, Irish.
Terry Bradshaw spent his entire NFL career with the Steelers.
Oh, this is beautiful.
Certainly one of the faces of the franchise, 4-time Super Bowl champion, back when Tito was still a Browns fan. Hadn't thought about the Steelers even back then in the 70s.
What's your phone talking to you over there, Shark?
Just turned it down.
He calls his phone Tito, so every time he says Tito, it starts to read something out loud to Siri.
Yeah. Anyway, Bradshaw is not afraid to rip his former team. He has ripped the Steelers for how they've handled the quarterback situation since Big Ben's retirement. On 103.7 The Buzz, Bradshaw said Pittsburgh mishandled Kenny Pickett, and he's angry at the Steelers' continued pursuit of Aaron Rodgers. Quote, "That's a joke. What are you going to do? Bring him in for 1 year? Are you kidding me? That guy needs to stay in California, go somewhere and chew on bark and whisper to the gods out there." Unquote.
That's an amazing line. When I read that yesterday, I was like, Terry is on one. He can do whatever he wants.
It is interesting, Bobby, that a front office known for its stability and success has not figured out the quarterback situation.
You know how hard it is to figure out the quarterback situation? You go look. We think that New England's got it with Drake May. Indianapolis, where are they at?
Right.
You know? I mean, Green Bay's been the anomaly with what they've been able to do, but replacing a legend, I mean, the Dolphins lost Dan Marino in the mid-'90s. They have been looking for that guy for a long time. There's times where you think there might be one of the guys there, but it's really hard. And here's the problem with Pittsburgh, is that they have a defense that has got about a year or two left. And those guys all know it, and either you got to say we're stripping it down and getting rid of them, or you have to find somebody who is equipped to be able to go all in and win with you right now. And the only guy available to do that is Aaron Rodgers.
You know, Bradshaw, he said a stupid thing when Elway got drafted too by the Colts. He's the one who said, Elway's talking about he wanted to play in a warm weather for a warm weather team. He wanted to play like on a coast or something like that where it's warmer weather. And Bradshaw ripped him at the time for saying that. When Bradshaw was still in the league, he said, you know what, if he wants to go be a surf boy or something, go do that then. Go play baseball.
So great.
Go play baseball then. We don't need you. It's ridiculous. Look, Rodgers does give them the best chance to win this year.
He does.
He gives them the best chance. So I don't care.
I would say this. He gives them the only chance.
I don't know if they got Cousins, if that would be that big of a drop-off from Rodgers. I think that they could win with Cousins, too. I do think that.
Do we know what Cousins is coming off of a torn Achilles? Because you saw Aaron. It took him a year last year. It wasn't like he was great at the beginning of the season.
Sure. And Cousins, though, yeah, he struggled a little bit last year, but he's now got that in his rearview mirror as well as far as the injury goes. So I think he'd be back now. I think he'd be fine. But with Cousins or Rodgers, they're not going to win with Mason Rudolph. It's not going to get done with Mason Rudolph in there. So I'm okay with them pursuing Rodgers still. And you're right, Bobby. They've got a very small window now to compete with that defense getting older. Cam Hayward, this might be his last year. Watt wants his new contract, and he's getting up there as well.
Minkah Fitzpatrick getting older.
Yes.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, everybody there is like on the plus side of 8 years on that defense that's good. And so that's what you're trying to parcel that together, get younger while still trying to take advantage of those guys, and it's hard.
Bradshaw just sounds like a bitter guy who missed this era of big money and player power. Because when Bradshaw played, there wasn't...
Bradshaw had 2 Hall of Fame receivers, Hall of Fame defense, Hall of Fame running back.
Hall of Fame center, Hall of Fame... Yeah.
Terry was... And I'm not saying Terry wasn't a good player.
Right.
But let's not act like he was...
No.
He may not have had the power, but under the current situation, they wouldn't have been able to build that team around him.
There's no way they would. I'm just saying, I think that Bradshaw sounds like a bitter man now because his career ended with his injury to his shoulder, arm or shoulder, whatever it was. I think it was his shoulder. Is when his career ended, and Elway comes in as a young guy, and Bradshaw rips him, and now he's ripping Rodgers. Rodgers is going to make more money in 1 year, in probably 1 week. 1 game or 2 games, whatever, than Bradshaw made in his entire career if he comes back and signs with if he comes on and signs with Steelers and plays for them. All right, that is it for the quick hitters today. Coming up next, the transfer portal has been good for players. How about for coaches? We will do that next. Morning Juice.
I'm Shanola Hampton. Every day, millions of people face hunger. Today, I will share with you some of their experiences. I'm stuck between paying for medications or paying for food. John from Maine. After paying my bills, I can buy groceries. It's sad to say, food comes last. Alice from Oregon. I thought pantries were for less fortunate people, but anybody could be less fortunate in a day or even a second. Claire from Virginia. The Feeding America network of food banks helps provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. No one should have to worry where their next meal will come from. Together, we can end hunger. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
Hey, Max, you look absolutely dashing in that purple tie. Ready to harness the world?
You bet, Daisy. I'm ready as I'll ever be. And might I say, your purple tie really pops with your vest.
Thanks. I almost went with a cape, but didn't want to come across as pretentious.
Nonsense. Anyone in our line of work should rock a cape.
You might be onto something, Max.
Phew, so here we go. First day on the job. We've got this, right?
Right. Don't forget, we both graduated from Dogs Inc. with honors.
Which means I can guide my human around a busy city with ease.
And I can give my human a restful night.
I hope my human is kind and loving.
And I hope mine likes wet kisses and zoomies.
Ready to make a difference?
Born ready. Let's go.
Discover how extraordinary dogs like Daisy and Max change lives at no cost to the recipients. Visit dogsinc.org.
We are the keepers of the wild, America's original and most invested conservationists. For more than 80 years, we've been committed to conserving wildlife and the natural landscapes that define our nation. From rugged alpine ridgelines to peaceful tall grass prairies, we've supported the conservation of more than 36 million acres of American wildlands. Our funding has led to cleaner water, fresher air, and improved wildlife habitat. From abundant fish and waterfowl populations to robust deer and elk herds, nothing is more important than maintaining wild spaces for adventurers to explore and wildlife to thrive. We are America's hunters and target shooters, stewards of the American outdoors.
America's hunters and target shooters, along with firearm, ammunition, and archery manufacturers, have invested more than $46 billion to help state fish and wildlife agencies manage and protect wildlife and wildlands across America. For more information, visit outdoorstewards.org.
Proud to be your go-to sports addiction.
WBNS, WBNS FM, HD3 Columbus.
The Fan 3, Ohio sports destination. Attack and dominate, YouTubers. You're locked into Morning Juice.
Morning Juice. What we are here. It's Tito. It's Bobby. It's Shark. Stuck out of the program. Thank you to everybody in the chat. The DJ Bass, by the way, Shark, was saying that he was a...
Is that B-A-S-E or B-A-S-S?
That's B-A-S-S.
Okay.
Which I don't think it's the Bass. Could be DJ Bass, I guess. But it's DJ... Bass was just talking about Shark and giving him wishing him a deserved wonderful ride off into the sunset. He's been listening to you for years.
We don't have sunsets in Ohio.
And there you go, DJ. That's why we don't like Shark that much, because you give a very nice sentiment right there. What does he do? He corrects you.
Well, when he said that he's been listening to me since middle school, that doesn't make me feel good.
I've been listening to you since middle school.
Middle school to the rest home. He's been listening the entire time.
Could have been elementary school, I guess.
It was. Well, I'll check that. It was elementary school.
I'm just, yeah, Shark. So that was a nice sentiment, though, by that individual.
Very
and
nice.
And you just said, we don't really have sunsets.
Well, have you checked the weather lately?
I know, Shark.
It's depressing.
Because
it's
I'm not
the end
60.
of May and it's 60 degrees.
Well, but
I had 5 days off. 5 days I was going to go to the pool.
Monday it was hot.
Hot.
It did
Bob,
get
it
nice.
was like 68.
Well, relative
and
to
it
the
was
days
windy.
before that,
yes,
I guess
I'll give you that.
I guess it wasn't as windy at our house on Sunday because it was hotter. Like I went outside, it was by the pool, and it wasn't like as bad. But if the thing is, any other day, if you weren't expecting heat, you would say these are the greatest days in the world. It's mid-60s, zero humidity, sunny outside, light
San Diego,
breeze.
April weather.
Yes, but the fact that you just want it to be hot so you could be out by the pool, I understand that.
The first digit has to be a 7 for me to go to the pool.
I get you. Well, you're not very committed to the pool then.
You're not one of those guys who, no matter what, on Memorial Day, no matter what the weather is, you're going to the pool. I know you were, but yeah, but I didn't know Shark likes that. You're not that. You're not. You know what? Memorial Day, pool's open. I'm going.
Rain Friday. Occasional rain showers.
Of course, it's Memorial Week.
Saturday and Sunday are going to be nice.
How
Friday.
nice?
71 and 72.
Shark will still complain.
I'm not going to complain. I choose to live here. I could do something about it if I didn't like it. I don't. But yeah, next Tuesday, 79, full sunshine. Wednesday, partly sunny, 82. Thursday, partly sunny, 84. Better days are ahead.
And you thought when you tuned into us, you were going to lose the weather forecast.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, we're giving it to you right here on Morning Juice. By the way, the SEC, Bobby, for only the third time since 2006, every head coach for football in the SEC is back.
Oh.
For another season.
So that's the third time since 06?
06. And this is the biggest the conference has been, too. You know, the most teams have been in there. So, but every coach, every head coach is back. And 29 assistant coaches changed jobs during this last cycle. This is on CBS Sports, the lowest total among all active conferences. We know that, as we've witnessed at Ohio State, and as you've seen at Alabama in years past, there's typically been a lot of turnover lately because of things like transfer portal and when coaching changes already, and then usually it's not just the head coach that goes, it's a whole staff that goes with him and whatnot. So it's interesting to me that the SEC has had that kind of stability. When you look at last year, like we weren't sure if Billy Napier was going to make it through with Florida.
But did anyone get fired last year?
I don't know if anyone got fired last
Billy
year.
Napier
Had to be at least one person, right? Well, then there was.
It's only the third time, so maybe last year was the second time.
I think it was the second straight year for that. I'd have to take a look. But wasn't there a change to A&M? Was that last year, the first year from the?
This is Elko's second year.
So last year was his first year.
Maybe last year was.
So he would have been one of the changes, right?
Yeah, the Jimbo firing, that might be the one then.
Okay, so there has been, but and I feel like, Bobby, and I don't know if this is just my recency bias on this, and Shark, I don't know if this is for you as well, but it seems like with how many people we talk about changing programs as far as players go, it's been a lot of coaching changes, too, in recent years compared to years past, or am I not remembering that correctly, do you think?
I think that there's more now because there's more money involved.
Right.
But here's the one thing that I think also now there's more money involved and there's more easier player movement, you can salvage things quicker, and maybe you have so much money tied up in the coach. It's like, okay, can we spend money on other places so we don't have to buy this guy out?
There's more stability.
Because when you buy – the other thing, you know who left? Saban.
I forgot that guy. Yeah, that one guy who
was a coaching
Alabama for a little bit.
Retired.
Yes, that's
no
right.
one ever retires.
Right, yes.
They always find the axe.
Yes.
That's what it was. It's Saban. Because here's what happens. When you fire your coach, all your players can leave.
Yeah, right.
So all the guys that you paid all that other money to, they're free to go.
Right.
So why would you want to fire a coach if you think he could be the guy? Like, honestly, Billy Napier, now they end up saving him playing well with their season, but there's times he still could have been fired. The biggest reason he wasn't is because DJ Lagway likes him, and he's great. And you think you have probably the best young quarterback in the SEC, and if you fire Billy Napier, who he committed to, and he stayed despite the fact that everybody else was leaving, he played him, and you know what? Things worked out. If you get rid of him, you think he's staying there? They just saw what happened. Julian Saint just went to Ohio State. Caleb Downs went to Ohio State. Seth McLaughlin left. Like, all these guys, then that was with a coach leaving and another coach coming in who was in the CFP the year before, the four-teamer.
My thought, Bobby, on this is that if the transfer portal rules were still like they used to be, had to stay out a year or whatever, couldn't transfer.
There was no portal before. You just had to stay out a year.
The transfer rules were like that. And if the buyouts weren't, and there's a lot of ifs here, the buyouts weren't so significant.
One of my coaches would say if ifs were fifths, we'd all be drunk.
That's a good one.
So if you're going to keep giving me these nested
I've got one more little one for you here. If the Pac-12 was still the Pac-12, Lincoln Riley would have been fired. Fair? If there wasn't a huge buyout and the threat of losing everybody.
Well, the reason he got the huge buyout was because he was such a good coach that they gave him a massive deal.
But he's been so mediocre.
He has.
I think is this his 8th year maybe at USC?
Who? What? Lincoln Riley?
No.
It's going to be his 4th.
I thought it was his. Oh, okay. I thought he'd been there longer than that then.
Who do you think was coaching Oklahoma?
He was replaced by Venables, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Venables only been there.
I guess
This will
you're
be
right.
his 4th year.
Nonetheless, with what he's done at USC, though, disappointment. Fair?
Yes, they
would have.
Outside the Caleb Williams year, his first year, he won the Heisman. I mean, they've won. I think they went 7-5, and last year 7-6.
But he would have been fired.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
So that's why, the big coaching salaries and the pain the pain in the ass that comes with the huge buyouts is actually giving these guys a lot more job security. And like you said, Bobby, you lose the coach, you lose all these players you've invested money in and invested time in because they can all go. And granted, they can all go anyway if they want to.
But when you make a huge disruption like that, that's when they all look around and say, hey, I don't know this next guy coming in. And if you fire the guy, you better have the next dude lined up and ready to go. There cannot be any uncertainty with what's going on. And because if there is, then all of a sudden, the time is your enemy when it comes to that. Because the longer that time goes, the less likely you are to retain your current roster.
Will USC come back? Nebraska never has. Nebraska's never.
We're putting USC in Nebraska's category.
I think that's where we're at, Bobby.
Are we? Does Lincoln seem like Los Angeles to you? And not Lincoln Riley.
Right. You confused me with that one there. I had to think about it.
The dueling Lincolns.
The dueling Lincolns.
And not
right.
Abe either.
Not Abe. I don't know if
He's
USC's if USC was if there was still the Pac-10, Pac-12, whatever it was, Pac-14.
Six-pack.
Okay. Then I could say, yeah, I think USC can come back. I don't think USC can come back in the Big Ten.
Really?
I don't see them catching. They could catch Oregon in one conference. If they were just them in Oregon and the rest of those crappy teams, they could catch them then. They're not going to catch Oregon, Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan. I don't see them catching them.
I mean, is Michigan that far away from them?
Michigan is. I don't think they are. Michigan, though, they did rebound from the depths of the Rich Rod and the Hoke and those things. They did rebound.
That was with Jim Harbaugh.
Right. I know it was Harbaugh. They did rebound. I know that
sample size. Now, granted, Michigan did beat the pants off Alabama last year in the bowl game when all of Alabama's guys were playing.
You can't count bowl games anymore.
All of Alabama's guys were playing, and none of
understand.
Michigan's guys were. I watched the game.
I know. No, I know, Bob. They may have all been playing. That's fine. But I'm just saying I don't count non-CFP bowl games as real games of matter. So, granted, Alabama's going to be there. That's fine, but I still don't think. I think if Alabama and Michigan were playing in a CFP game, you might have a different outcome than Michigan beating the pants off of them in the Blue Bonnet Bowl, whatever it was they played. I don't know what they played.
Blue Bonnet Bowl.
What was the bowl they played? Your dad played the Blue Bonnet Bowl?
No, he played
in Miami?
No, he played in Citrus Bowls. Tangerine Bowls back then.
That's right, Tangerine Bowl back then. Back when bowls had names. Now we're getting off my lawn, guys, here. But I don't know, Bobby. I don't think Nebraska's ever going to come back. I don't think USC is.
I mean, USC finished behind Rutgers and Minnesota in the Big Ten standings.
That's a bad
and
look
behind
for USC.
Michigan. Michigan ended up 8-5.
Is Larry Smith still alive? If so, he's probably laughing about that.
Larry Smith.
Or is he turning over?
Pac-12 commissioner.
Was he the coach at USC?
Oh, no, I was thinking of Larry Scott.
Larry Scott. Larry Smith was one. I think he's from Van Wert, Sharky.
I think you're right, Tito, and I think he beat us 2 years in a row.
I think he did. Was the one game the quit game?
It was Larry Smith and John Cooper met at midfield, and Coop said, we're going to try an onside kick here, and if you recover, we're going to call the game because it was lightning.
Right.
In the horseshoe.
And they didn't want to delay again.
And then we went out there and got smoked.
Oh, yeah, that was the 42-something game, wasn't it? 42 to – was that –
I think who was on that USC team, like 1989 maybe 1990.
Yeah. Had to be 90. Because
89 was here.
89, I think, was here. 88 was Aikman with USC then. UCLA then. Aikman was UCLA, I'm sorry, in 88. In 89, USC – 88 was like Rodney Pete at USC.
So the last 2 years – USC has gone 7-6 and 8-5. Now they were 11-3 Lincoln's first year there,
right?
With Caleb,
but they had Caleb the second year too.
Yeah,
he just didn't win the Heisman the second year. He won it the first year. But they finished unranked the final 2 years as well. Granted, when you're going 8-5 and 7-6, they finished 10th in 2022. Believe me, Lincoln Riley is one of the big, beautiful mysteries that I've been looking at, seeing this, just trying to understand what he is and what their threshold is for success. And, they've sunk a lot of money into him out there.
Yeah. His buyout is close to $90 million. They can't fire him.
They're not going to fire him, right. But as a college football fan, taking off the scarlet and gray glasses.
Listen, they may not be able to fire him, but they may be able to fire him with cause. All right. Because all you got to do.
Create something?
No, I mean, listen, I'm not going to be conspiracy theorist, but Michigan State had a really hard time firing Mel Tucker until all of a sudden they had the right set of circumstances that appeared. And I tell you this, I've been fortunate enough to be around a lot of very wealthy people. They got that way generally, especially if they made it themselves, because they're smart and they know how to solve problems. And sometimes those are above the grounds of ethics. Sometimes they may be not. But that is all part of the game to them.
There's a photo probably circulating right now of Lincoln Riley with Deshaun Watson and Justin Tucker. It's probably out there. USC has generated that. But it pisses me off as a college football fan, though, Bobby, when you look at how Pete Carroll had that program running, illegally running, though.
But since Pete Carroll, though, I mean, were they any good?
Maybe not, but I'm saying, but since then, though,
I mean,
like where it's
Sark
at
was
now.
9-4, 8-6, and
Lincoln Riley
Clay
or
Helton,
Lincoln.
Clay Helton came in and he was 10-3 and 11-3, but then he followed it up with 5-7, 8-5.
Lane Kiffin also.
5-1. Lane was before Sark, and Lane was 10-4 his second year. But he was 7-6 his first, 10-2. It's like Lane Kiffin, honestly, 8-5, 10-2, 7-6. Then he went 3-2, but they did finish 10-4 that year. But it's not like they've had this run of sustained greatness since then.
No, but
had a good year, bad, and some average years in there, or bad by their standards. But they haven't had anything that they've been a true national championship contender.
But that's where, like, it bothers me as a fan with how much they've fallen off. And Nebraska's brand as well. I'll never, like, Nebraska doing what they used to be with Tom Osborne and to where they're at now it's sickening to think how far they've fallen back.
There's no indigenous talent base for them to recruit from. And they used to be able to recruit Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Can't really do that anymore. And so, like, what are they going to do coming into Midwest? And they used to go out. A lot of Tom Osborne's success in the mid-'90s, they also did really well in Southern California.
Yeah.
Well, that also corresponded before Pete Carroll's arrival at USC. And you start talking about, when they won their championships there in Nebraska in the early 90s, you had John Robinson there, stumbling around at 7 and 8 wins. Larry Smith before that. So they were able to go in there and get those players out of LA. And by the way, how great of a program is USC? Like, they've had really high peaks, and they were great in the 60s and 70s. They were great under Pete, and they'll have some years, but it's not like they've always been good.
No, but they were perennial conference champion, playing in the played the Rose Bowl a lot, and put players in the pros, and they were a significant brand.
And I don't want to besmirch this. John Robinson, first tenure at USC.
It was great.
Second tenure, not as good.
Right. No, his first tenure was great. And then he took over for John McKay. Is that right, Shark?
Yep.
Yeah, McKay, when McKay left the Buccaneers.
Let me tell you this, and Nebraska would kill for this today.
Yeah.
Bo Pelini.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
9-4, 10-4, 10-4, 9-4, 10-4, 9-4, 9-3, fired. 67 and 27.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they would absolutely die.
Statue.
Yes.
Coach, pull up Frank Solich's 3 seasons.
Oh, yeah. Solich was great there, too. Right.
Then he went to become the all-time winningest coach in the MAC at Ohio University, which had never won in their
field named
history.
after him, or stadium. What is it, Field?
Something.
Yeah.
I mean, but he did a great job
Yeah,
there.
he did.
And they fired him for basically just not being Tom Osborne.
Right, that's exactly what it was, yeah. The guy after the guy, you're never going to...
Solich at Nebraska, 9-4, 12-1, 10-2, 11-2, 7-7, 9-3, 58-19 in 6 years. Played in a Rose, played in a Fiesta.
Played national championship game though, that 12-1 season with Eric Crouch as their quarterback, or 12-2.
Yeah, having a defensive back play quarterback is pretty good if you can do that, but have that kind of success. But you look at our worst years at Ohio State, though, Bobby, our worst years, our most turbulent years, still won a hell of a lot of games with Cooper. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like that was, and Ohio State didn't have to recover.
Coop's last 2 years.
Yeah. He did things that no Ohio State coach had done before.
The first couple years weren't good either.
No, the first couple years weren't very good.
4-6-1 his first year. They didn't go to a bowl game.
Right.
Well, Coop will tell you, he goes, Bruce was the greatest coach he'd ever been around. He goes, he could win 8 games with these players.
Yeah, with these guys, the 9-3 early, yeah. But I mean, like that's like our worst. At Ohio State, that's been the worst thing we've had to endure as fans is that time, and that was still a pretty damn good.
But they were short periods.
Yeah.
Season or two here or there. You get Jim Tressel 7-5, national championship, sustained run of success. You know, obviously the transition year with Fick, 6-7, not great. Urban 12-0 the next year, boom, on a roll for the last 14 years.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at like the transition points. You know, Woody smoking old dude at Clemson next year with Earl 79, should have won a national title.
Yeah.
So like you're talking just simply transition moments that those seasons seem long, but if you look at it in the full pantheon of history, you're talking like a 2 to 3 year period at most for any type of lack of success by Ohio State standards.
All right, coming up next, it's Memorial Week. We're going to be joined by our golf betting expert, John Gerber. Morning Juice.
In honor of all those we've lost to cancer and those still fighting and thriving, like basketball analyst and cancer champion Dick Vitale.
I want to beat cancer. I'm going to beat it. That's no doubt in my mind. I'm going to win this battle.
Defeating cancer will take all of us. Join our team to help fund game-changing research that saves lives. At the V Foundation, V is for victory over cancer. V is for victory over the odds. V is for victory over health disparities, victory over setbacks, victory over the unknown. V is for victory over giving up.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Donate to the V Foundation to join our team and help save lives.
Cancer can take away all my physical abilities. It cannot touch my mind, it cannot touch my heart, and it cannot touch my soul.
100% of donations fund game-changing cancer research. Donate now to the V Foundation at v.org.
Hey guys, 13-year NFL veteran and Super Bowl champion Jason McCourty here, and I'm the Innovation Ambassador at FAIR, Food Allergy and Research Education. I would say the most challenging thing as a parent of a kid who has a food allergy is probably the ignorance that I myself had in the beginning. I didn't know what anaphylactic shock was. I didn't know the dangers, let alone the things that she needed to be able to have a normal life. When you go to drop your kid off, and every single time in the beginning, we'd have to go through everything she was allergic to. Preparation is everything. And me, for playing football for 13 years, it was all throughout the course of the week. It's getting ready for game day. When you're on the field, you're playing for your fans. At home, you're playing for your family. My playbook, read labels, keep it allergy friendly, and have an epinephrine nasal spray as a backup plan. Because when my family's safe from food allergens, that's the real victory. Visit foodallergy.org to learn more.
While serving in Vietnam, a grenade took my ability to see. Today, I'm a sculptor. Now, my fingers are my eyes. I'm Michael Naranjo. As a veteran, I know the challenges of life can be great. In my art, turning a lump of clay into something beautiful, that is worth doing. Life is like that. We each must use what we can to make things better.
DAV helps veterans like Michael get the benefits they've earned. They help more than 1 million veterans every year in life-changing ways.
Now, I show others how they can create something with their own hands. I know it can do a lot of good. With support from DAV, more veterans can shape their lives into a thing of beauty. My victory is bringing beauty into the world.
Michael Naranjo, may your victories inspire many more. Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Bobby played for the Dallas Cowboys. Tito wears assless chaps.
I'm dead sexy.
You're locked into Morning Juice.
All right, Morning Juice, Tito Bobby Shark, and now we are joined by our golf betting expert. He is the host of the #1 golf podcast in the state of Ohio, From the Rough, on Fanstream Sports. Also, writes Triathlon Sports. And Gerb had a pretty good week last week, right? Let's sing some praises, because I think you had the winner last week at a pretty good number, didn't you?
Yeah, good morning, fellas. Yeah, it was a good week as opposed to the last week at the PGA Championship after you kind of jinxed me after I was on your show. So Last week was certainly a redeeming week. We did have the winner at 41 to 1. I'm sorry, 45 to 1 in Ben Griffin. So yeah, it was a great redeeming week. It was a long week. I was down at Colonial. It was hot and it was windy. So yeah, it got our total back on the great mark of plus 5460 for the year in terms of net profit, and 32 wins, 8 losses, and 4 ties on our matchups. We didn't have any matchups last week. It was just a tough week with the weather, potentially some delays while I was down there covering at the Colonial. So looking forward to another positive week as I made my way up here last night in this cold little place. It's a little different, 40 degrees weather change, it looks like, from Fort Worth to Columbus. So I didn't bring enough clothes for sure.
How's the weather? Did you factor that in, of how that'll impact the golfers potentially on Thursday and Friday with it being a little wet outside?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you look at guys, these guys know coming up here what it's potentially going to be, especially traveling from Texas So, yeah, it's certainly, you look at guys, the golf course is going to play soft. I'm going to be out there. I'm heading out there this morning to kind of finish up my prep for the week in terms of the betting and how the golf course is playing. But I know the fairways will be soft. The rough will be very thick because probably haven't had a chance to mow it. So you're looking at guys who are solid ball strikers, especially off the tee. Jack certainly lends himself to being a little generous off the tee, so the fairways are going to be a little big, and they play bigger as they get softer. So that helps those guys. The tour guys really like that. But with the sub-air system in the greens, Jack can put the speed of those greens wherever he wants to and take the moisture out if he needs to, as opposed to the fairways.
John Gerber, our golf betting expert, joins us. He is at JGerber PGA Pro on Twitter. Find him there. All of his picks are on there for free. He just told you his record this season so far in head-to-heads, and also the fact he picked up a 45-1 winner last week among his selections. So you mentioned that the way the course is going to be, a little soft there in the fairways, and the rough might be a little thick out there. And so are there certain players you've got your eye on? I don't know if you're making your final selections just yet, but there's certain guys you think will be on your card?
Yeah, we've kind of narrowed down the list. I mean, normally we'll have about, out of our 8 selections, we put them in order. We'll have about 12 to 15 guys, but this week we'll have a few less just because it's a smaller field. And the odds, if you kind of look down the board, you're not going to get a lot of value on top 20 picks from the bigger name guys. But to win, I'm looking back for a couple weeks ago, guys who played really well at the PGA Championship. If you look at that golf course, Quail Hollow is not exactly like Murfield Village, but the conditions potentially will be with bigger fairways, softer fairways. So look at a guy like Andrew Novak, who's been playing fantastic. We have him at 40-1. He will be on our card for sure. And a guy like Denny McCarthy at 45-1 again. You wouldn't potentially pick those guys for a long golf course, but I think the added length that Denny McCarthy's picked up over the last couple of years and his confidence, I think he's a great pick. But maybe you're a little bit down the board, the guys to finish in the top 20. Look at a guy like Tom Hoagie at plus 280, one of the best ball strikers on the PGA Tour, and Cam Davis at plus 335. In that top 20 mark, who's been playing really solid golf, hits the ball high, hits the ball long. So I think he's going to have some success there. But we'll be finalizing our card this afternoon after I get off the grounds and really make some really good selections this week.
How does it impact it? Usually you're looking at majors, obviously the big ones, and all the live guys, or at least as many of them that can play in those. Not in this tournament. So how does that impact the handicapping?
Yeah, it's a tough. They're only in the selections of 5 or 6 tournaments a year. Certainly for the majors, we'll look at them a little bit more as the U.S. Open comes up in a couple weeks. But the gauge on those guys, with the exception of Rahm, is those guys are really down the board. So you might be able to get some value in the U.S. Open, but the current form of the Koepka and the Dustin Johnsons and some of the favorites back in the day, you're not going to get it. I mean, you can get some really good odds on them, but if you look at their performances, there's no reason. You might as well just blow torch your money.
Gerb, I saw this story from about Jack Nicklaus and Rory McIlroy not playing in the tournament, and Nicklaus, he was very careful. He said, "I'm not throwing Rory under the bus." He was surprised that Rory is not playing here, and I guess it's been most of the top players, if they're not going to play at the Memorial and they have the option to or invited to or whatever, they normally would call Jack, according to what I've been able to follow up or read here, is that they've usually reached out to Jack in some way, shape, or form and said, "Hey, I'm not going to play. I can't, I appreciate you thinking of me. I'm not going to be this year," whatever. But Nicklaus said he got nothing from Rory, and he said, "I don't know why Rory didn't talk to me. I can't answer that question. There's nothing I can answer. I know he has to make a schedule that works for him and what he has to do, and I understand because I do the same thing." He just said, "I'm not throwing McIlroy under the bus because he says I'm not sure why he's here, and I haven't heard from him." Does it surprise you that Rory would not reach out to Jack, or does that get blown out of proportion how significant that might be?
Yeah, it surprised me for sure. I just think just because of their past relationship they've had over the years, and Rory being a member down at Jack's place at the Bears Club down in West Palm Beach. So, yeah, that was really surprising. I mean, normal protocol, certainly Rory doesn't have to call anybody if he's not going to play. But the reverence that he has for Jack is certainly something that would be, "Hey, Jack, it just doesn't fit in the schedule this year." Something there. I knew Tiger for sure, if he wasn't able to play Memorial or wasn't even able to play API or some of those events that he normally plays that he dominated, he would call Arnie or Jack just by sheer, respect. And yeah, that was very surprising. I read the same story that you did, and I'll maybe get a little insight this afternoon in the media center at Murfield and get a little bit more information. But yeah, that was very surprising for sure.
Just for the record, for about the 19th straight year, I did email Jack and say, hey, I'm not playing this year. He didn't respond to me again like he never does, but I made sure to let him know I'm not going to be there this year playing.
Playing or
playing?
I'm sure he can find something else for you to do if you want to go out there. He can put you on the grounds crew, rake some of those bunkers or something out there. You'd be very good at that, I think.
Fidoff said he just wants to get hooked up to the milkshake machine and have it pump it down its throat.
You think he needs any more of those milkshakes? I think he probably should stay on. A couple years ago, I got him a Buckeye milkshake, and I think he drank about 5 or 6 of them, so he's got his fill.
Yeah, see, here's the problem, Gerbs. He's lost all this weight, and so I don't want to send him back spiraling out of control again. We were trying to make sure that he can stay alive long enough that that Heather can torture him some more, or he can torture her. I'm not sure which.
I think it's the other way around for sure. Yeah, he certainly can torture. I'm gonna hopefully I'm gonna see him this week. So if he's losing weight, I'll be the judge of that. We'll see, but hopefully he is. Hopefully he's looking good. I don't know how he's doing it, but I'm sure there's some sort of shortcut away somehow.
There is, of course there is, Gerb. Of course there is. So with the this tournament, it just is such a blessing. We have it in Columbus right in our backyard here with this every single year, and it seems like this is the 50th year of the 50th memorial we're having here this year. And Jack is always so gracious out there with the media and everything. He does a lot of stuff leading into it. He always wants to put on this first-class event. It seems like every year it almost grows in stature still. When you think, this is like a premier event and all these things, but every year it seems to get better. The field gets better. The players seem more appreciative of the event and how they get treated out here. Is that kind of the same thing you see?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you talk to the guys on tour, they'll rank the tournaments. I mean, obviously you have the major, and some guys revere the Players' Championship as the 5th major. I think most of them don't. I think it's just a separate category. So you have the majors, the Players' Championship, and then you have that 1A tier of the Memorial, the API Tigers tournament at Riviera. So you have a group of 3 or 4 there that are holders' names: Tigers event, Jack's event, Arnold's event, and they're holding reverence for sure. So Jack wants to set it up like Augusta. That's what he does. Not the tournament itself, but in terms of, how you're treated and the service and the golf course, how great it is. And I heard a comment from Jack as I was coming up here saying that he drove the golf course the other day and there was not one thing he could say negatively that he's not prepared, that the golf course isn't prepared for the tournament. So that's the first time I've ever heard that from Jack. So yeah, these guys next to the majors and maybe the Player, it's probably their 5th or 6th favorite event in terms of ranking that besides the majors.
Think we'll ever see Tiger playing this again?
I don't think so, and here's why. I just think it's a hard walk for him. I mean, it's a difficult golf course to walk, especially you don't see the undulation. Central Ohio certainly isn't known for its hills and undulation, but Jack has set it up that it's a hard walk. And as much success as he's had there, I just don't think his body's going to let him. I know he loves the place, he loves the golf course. I just don't think walking wise it's the best place for him.
He is John Gerber at J. Gerber PGA Pro, golfing expert for us, host of From the Rough podcast on FanSpring Sports. He'll put his picks out there when he gets finalized, and then we'll make sure we tweet them out and also put them on the in our chat tomorrow for folks. But he puts out his head-to-head record. It's all there for you to see, and you can track his progress as well. Gerb, we appreciate the time, buddy. I'll see you out there for Memorial this weekend.
All right, sounds good, guys. Thanks for having me on. Have a good week.
You bet. That was John Gerber. He's out there. He'll do it, Bobby. I've seen it. He's got a bunch of different formulas he plugs in and looks at and things he looks at, and he knows about different guys' habits and what's going on in some of their personal lives, how it might affect them on the course as well. So he's always locked in on that. But he'll be out there on the grounds.
Personal lives and what's going on. What does that mean?
Well, I mean, like he has
like that Stephon Diggs party thing I saw down in Miami going on.
I don't think it's quite that, but
I don't know. You said personal.
I think he's
goings?
got some insight on if guys are going through certain things on a personal level, if they are having.
They woke up at Bridge Park just outside of on a park bench over there.
Could have been, or getting arrested on their way to tournaments and things. I think
here's what I should have asked him.
Yes.
With the closing of the bogey, how does that impact some of these scores for these guys on that Friday or Thursday?
Is the bogey still open and stuff? Like but there's
The building is gone.
The building's gone, but like the area though, they've got like food trucks lined up out there and that kind of thing going on, right? So it's
I think, and they're rebuilding it.
they're going to rebuild it. Yeah,
but during this transition time,
I don't know what's there now.
An empty field.
So there's nothing going on this week. Huh?
I think they have like a food truck festival out
They
there.
might. I drove by
there.
there last weekend for my daughter's lacrosse tournament. Then they had one of the bridges out. It was a disaster. I was complaining to AJ. We were over at Kaufman about this, and I drove by it, and I didn't realize that they had completely scraped the building. It was brutal.
Yeah, they're going to rebuild it. Emily in the chat says
Make it bigger.
They're having events there. They're having concerts there.
This week. Good,
this
but
week,
it's going to be outdoors. There's nothing inside. Now, not that there was a ton. No, I guess maybe they have tents up and stuff like that.
They probably do tents, yeah. I bet they have tents.
They would
out
always
there.
tent the outside anyway.
Right, yeah, I bet that's
just giant holes for latrines. I mean, it's going to be awesome.
They did have bocce ball out there in the back, too.
They did?
Yeah.
Never really made the bocce section.
Something's going on with Rory, and I don't know what it is.
He didn't talk at all.
He didn't talk at the PGA.
Right.
4 days, didn't do an interview, and he finished, I don't know what it was, 47th, something like that.
Yeah.
After he won the Masters, he took his daughter to Northern Ireland, didn't take his wife.
Okay.
And I guess that's not a big deal, but it's just something's going on with that guy because in these premier events, you have to show up. That was the deal that was made when they started $20 million purses.
Paid more, yeah.
And if you don't show up, it's a $2 million fine, and it's the third premier event this year he's missed.
Do you think it's on a personal level? Or you think he's really contemplating going to live?
Oh, I don't think he's going to live.
He was so adamant against live.
I know he was.
I mean, yeah, it feels like too many bridges were burned there, and
I don't know. I think they'll pay.
Liv would take him.
I think they'll pay anybody.
Yeah,
I'm not going to say it won't happen, but I don't think it's that. I think it's something personal is going on with him. That's odd that he's not coming here, and even odder that he wouldn't make a phone call to Jack.
I think it's odd that he wouldn't make a phone call. I think it's odd that Jack brought it up.
No, Jack didn't bring it up. Somebody asked in the press conference yesterday.
Somebody asked in that question. I'm saying, but Jack could have just said, "Yeah, I'm not getting into that right there." He didn't have.
Why
he
does
did
he
say,
care? I mean, you talk Jack. If I'm Jack, I'm telling people exactly what I think at this point.
What are you saying, Bob? Are you saying he doesn't have much time left?
I'm saying that you cross a certain threshold in Shark, you're going to be there where you can say whatever and people just
wait a minute,
They just check it off to like, hey,
and just blast you guys.
Are you go with your name or somebody else though? You gonna put like a pseudonym on there?
No, I'll be right up front with you. Tito sucks.
Do something like that, right? Like you're like Danny the Dolphin. You're gonna be Mark the Shark on there, right?
Mark the Shark.
So we'll know it's you doing that. I don't think
great. Get your little shark emoji in there.
That's what we should do. Yeah.
But I mean, what is Jack? Listen, here's what the worry that I have because the same thing happened, with Byron Nelson. I mean, at some point when Jack passes, I'm just curious if this will retain the level of prestige that it has before.
I'm worried about that too.
Or does it because right now it's the signature event. I mean, outside of the majors, and then they try to make up the Players' Championship and everything else, and the FedEx. But there's a lot of esteem here. And that's why I don't know. I feel like if Tiger thinks that would be Jack's last one, if he would try to come back to just, even if he's just mustering a Thursday, Friday appearance, just to be able to come back one more time to pay homage ultimately to him, because I need the respect and deference that he has for Jack.
Yeah, that's the thing you wonder about, because right now, and the players have talked about this also. Scheffler mentioned this. One of the coolest thing is when you shake Jack's hand coming off 18. When you get done and you shake Jack's hand, and he has a couple words for you sometimes, encouraging words, or
way not to blow it.
Right. Don't this time you didn't suck as bad as last time. But
thanks for not getting arrested outside of my course.
Watch out. There's a sobriety checkpoint. But who will be the face of the memorial after that? After Jack? Because
probably Rothman.
Baby, that's a good point though, Bobby. Why not Rothman? He's everybody's neighbor. He's everybody's friend.
Listen, he's won the media flight a couple of times. I mean, he actually beat Tiger Woods one year out there.
He got mad at me a couple weeks ago.
Rothman, why?
Yeah, it takes a lot to make Rothman mad.
That's my point. I'm trying to figure out what you did.
we had our major that we play, one of our 4 majors, Columbus Majors. Scotty Vegas plays in it. Baker plays in it also. Tim's played in 1 or 2 of them, I think. But anyway, so the night
What do you
before.
mean your Columbus Majors. What is this?
Oh, I don't know where you've been, Bobby.
You guys, you're in that league with them?
No, not that league. I have my own. We have 4 events every year with me and some friends. It started
Signature events?
The Jerry DeTemple Plate Open at Raymond is always the first one.
Raymond?
Yeah, Raymond's where we play it. The first one every year. And then the second one's the Neil Diamond Invitational. The third one's the Out-of-Town Open. And the fourth one's the Ironman. We play 36 holes or sometimes 54 out at Chapel Hill. 1 a month. Anyway.
North Carolina?
No. We've got records. Close, Mount Vernon. We've got records.
Do you
going
play
all
at
the
the
way back.
Turtle?
We have not played a tournament there yet.
That's Rothman's
I know.
home course.
We rotate the second and third majors. I digress. The night before, Scotty texted me and said, "Hey, can my neighbor play?" And I said, "I don't care if he plays. He's not going to compete. He just wants to play." Because we have like a handicap system. We keep track of all this stuff. It's
very sophisticated.
It really is. So I see. I don't care. He can play if he wants to. We got a spot in your group. He can show up. He can play. Rothman shows up.
Rothman's the neighbor?
And I said, "Wait. He's not your neighbor. You live.
Yeah.
It's not even close. And then Rothman says, "Wait, was I not the first choice, Scotty?"
Ha! So he didn't get mad at you for questioning. This is great.
And then Scotty said, "Oh, wait." Scotty tried to push it off onto me. I had to show Rothman the text.
My neighbor.
Right. Now, he said he doesn't have to compete. He just wants to play along. Not going to be in the major. So Rothman says, "Can I be in the major?" And I said, "No. It's too late now. We got the app all set up. You'd have to download an app, get a handicap, get an index all set." I said, "No, you can't compete. You can play." And he said, "So I can't compete." And I said, "No, Scotty said you didn't want to. You were his neighbor that wasn't going to play." And so Rothman, I think, was angry with me.
Listen, I would be angry with Scott. He invited him there under false pretenses and lied to you about who was coming and why they were coming.
I told him I told Rothman that night, I said, "Rothman, look, our next major is June 14th. It's on a Saturday. Would love for you to come out and play and compete." He sent back, "I'm busy. It's Flag Day." I think he's being sarcastic. He's not going to play on Flag Day, he said.
Scott's the one that's in the wrong
Hey, look,
here.
I'm with you on that one. I caught
Scott lied about who was coming and what their intentions were.
And Rothman was his third choice. That part could come out there. Rothman did confirm he was the third choice for Scotty. Scotty asked his neighbor first, and then asked another neighbor, and then went south of the border and got Rothman instead. All right, coming up next, today's Guys Juice, Morning Juice.
I'm a wife and the mother of 2 kids, and I've got a good job.
Bye, Mom. See you, Mom.
A pretty important job. Because of my family and my job, I really care about this neighborhood. It's a good neighborhood. Yes, there's some crime. And when I drive to work, like now, I realize that some people here don't trust the police. So the police should be reaching out to this community, and this community should reach out to the police. That's the way to make this a safer place. And when I get to work in the precinct house and put on my uniform, I can tell you as a police officer that this department is reaching out to the community, and the community is doing its part. We're building partnerships. This should be happening everywhere. This is how we can all be safer. Get involved. Start the conversation.
Start the conversation and help stop crime. To learn the 5 things you can do, go to ncpc.org/prevent violent crime. A message from the National Crime Prevention Council and the Bureau of Justice Assistance.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies, because when people don't have to worry about where their next meal is coming from, they can truly thrive, like Marta.
And now we'll hear from our class valedictorian, who with our hard work never ceases to amaze us. Please welcome Marta Moreno.
And Alex.
Hey, Alex, how did the interview go?
I did it! I got the job! I can't believe it!
I knew it. Let's meet up later to celebrate.
And Diego.
Mom! I got first place at the science fair with my volcano project.
That's amazing, sweetie. Congratulations.
Because when people are fed, futures are nourished, and everyone deserves to live a full life. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/actnow. feedingamerica.org/actnow. A public service announcement brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Once there was a man who couldn't stand.
A mom who couldn't wait.
A scientific community that said it couldn't be done.
And then you.
And then I.
And then we.
Brought neuromuscular disease into screaming color with the Muscular Dystrophy Association.
For 75 years, our voices have thundered through the halls of Congress.
We've willed the impossible into existence.
We've pushed the science,
raised the funds,
shifted the narrative,
and transformed the reality of life with neuromuscular diseases.
For 75 years, we've built communities together,
established the field of neuromuscular medicine,
and made it thrive.
Call that a legacy.
Call it impact.
Call it momentum.
Just call it ours.
Because it's the generations of community heroes that give MDA the strength we have today.
And until neuromuscular disease is a thing of the past, you couldn't stop us if you tried.
Join us and celebrate 75 years of breakthroughs at MDA75.org.
Tito has had 2 wives. They've both been named Heather. If you know someone named Heather, please warn her. This is Morning Juice.
Final segment of the program. I got to educate Bobby on the Columbus Majors. My life's complete now, Bobby, because I've now bored everybody at the station that I've worked with on that story.
Well, we're all now dumber for listening to that.
Appreciate that.
You get no points that off. May God have mercy on your soul.
I may not get points, but I bet my telling you that story got you juiced.
What's got you juiced?
Sponsored by Billiards Plus. Find your next grill and everything you need for the master griller. Billiards Plus on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin.
Oh, it's a Wednesday, Bobby. I don't know. What's got you juiced?
I don't know what's got you juiced. I listened to this little nugget, and really, I was hoping we'd maybe play it today. Didn't think we'd play it for Juiced, but Shark, who was this? This was Mark Schlereth, sorry.
Stink, right?
Also known as Stink to many people. And he was talking about the Bengals and their contract situation and everything that they've got going on there. And it's him and Craig Carton. And my goodness, if the Cincinnati Bengals screw up Joe Burrow's career, I feel like they're on their way to doing it. But this is them talking about what's going on with Hendrickson and their first-round pick and just all the nonsense that they can't get right down there.
Of course, it's a bad look for the Bengals. One, Trey Hendrickson, your best defensive player, is not signed. You guys are at an impasse with his contract. Now your number 1 overall pick, it was the 17th overall pick, but your first-round draft choice, you can't come to an agreement on a contract that is completely slotted because of what? The language you want to get over on the player? I mean, it's just a bad look for the Bengals and how they do business.
He has every right not to sign that deal because every other first-round pick does not have and has never had the language that the Bengals are trying to squeeze in to this kid's contract. And for those of you out there saying, well, it's kind of like a sit-in, it's not. He can't go there. He's not an employee yet. Right. He does not have a contract. He cannot go to the facility. And all he is saying is, put the language in my contract the way it is for every other first-round draft pick. If you didn't believe in me as a first-round talent, then you shouldn't have drafted me. His agent is right. He is right. And this is another example of the Bengals being the Bengals. It's wrong.
And inside the locker room, the way that resonates from player to player, the Trey Hendrickson thing, now this rookie thing, trying to get over on players. I'm telling you what, it is just a bad precedent to set because you're right. It's 100%. You know what the guarantees are. You know what the money is. It's slotted. It's right there.
Jeff Rimmer said Carton sounds like he's dying or drunk. And he does sound like he's a little strained in that. But yes. I heard that, I was like, this is ridiculous. Every other first-round pick has the same language in there. Mm-hmm. And we're going to try to do something different because why? Like, you want to mitigate the risk, and his agent's right. If you didn't think he was a first-round pick, you shouldn't have took him in the first round. Quit trying to protect yourself on the potential downside or whatever it is. Take care of the deal. Get it done. It's got me juiced in a negative way. A little positive juice. Started mulching yesterday. Used to do it all in one day. Now, Shark, I do it more of a process. And, my kids have kind of offered to help, and so I'm going to start leaning into them. My daughter, she's not really offering to help, but I'm more encouraging her that she's going to be helping and do some of this. And there's nothing more satisfying than doing a little yard work, taking a look at it when it's done and how good it looks. But that mulch, man, it smells. It gets under your fingernails. It's dark. It is dirty, but it teaches you the value of a hard day's work, Shark, an honest day's work. And so that's got me juiced here as well as on the eve of the Memorial Tournament and excited to hopefully head out there on Friday and hopefully the rain won't be ridiculous.
The yard thing, yeah, you're absolutely right about that. I can't tell you how good I feel after watching my wife do a bunch of, like, how good the yard looks and how proud I am and refreshed watching her lay all the mulch out there and mow and edge. I'm telling you,
bum.
it's not lazy.
I believe you. I actually believe you.
Shark, listen, I've got it figured out. The first time we moved into that house together and I mowed the lawn and edged, okay, took care of the edging. I did such a poor job on the edging, she won't let me touch that tool anymore. She does all the edging. It's a wonderful thing. I trimmed a bit of a tree one time. It was blocking my view from my recliner in the house. She got so mad at that, I can't trim trees anymore or bushes or anything like that. Yeah, it's brilliant on my part. One of the best things I've ever done.
Do you feel emasculated at all?
No, I feel proud.
Wear a dress.
I don't. Listen, she can wear a dress when she mows. I'm not going to criticize that.
Wow.
All right.
Would it be a shining example for your son, Shark, or Thidoff?
He doesn't know me.
Shark, what does Schlegel have to say?
I wasn't the best wrestler by any stretch of the imagination. I just wanted to physically abuse you. I wanted blood timeouts. I wanted to centerline W and see how freaking hard your sternum was.
Rick Derringer passed away on Memorial Day.
Oh,
what a
wow.
day to die. 77 years old, born in Salina, Ohio. It's right over there on the Indiana border.
I spent plenty of time in Salina.
I went to a Christian college in Indiana. I had to drive back to Salina to buy beer because couldn't get it at 18 years old in Indiana. Not a good look being at a Christian school, going back to get beer in Ohio. Hour away. But anyway, our friend Rick Derringer had a long career in the music industry. He helped found the McCoys in Dayton, Ohio, and in 1965, he had a really, really big hit. Went on to become the state rock song in Ohio. And, of course, we know it mostly from the Ohio State Marching Band, but Rick Derringer, rest in peace. I'm looking at the YouTube chat.
Oh, yeah.
One guy says Shark has a face for radio. Okay, like we didn't know that. What was another one? They want to know if I'll be watching Survivor 50, even though I'll be dead for Survivor 50. We just finished Survivor 48 last Wednesday.
How would be dead by 50?
I know. That's a year away. It's 9 months away.
Yeah.
So anyway, I am looking forward to it. Hey, on my day off on Friday,
what'd you do?
I went to the movie theater.
By yourself?
I did.
Gosh, you and my dad. That's great.
Went by myself and I watched The Final Reckoning, Mission Impossible.
Was it, dude, Tom Cruise? He's like your age, Shark.
He's 62, almost 63. On the 3rd of July, he'll be 63.
Not retiring anytime soon either, is he?
Probably not.
Nope.
He's making $25 million a movie.
You could take a
Would
pay
you
cut.
retire?
25. Get out of here.
And anyway, very far-fetched, as most Mission Impossible movies are, but this was, I won't give it away, but he's got to save the world in this one. And it truly was an impossible mission. But here's the good news, folks. It was $11.99. I went to the 9:30 in the morning. First day it was out.
They're selling alcohol at 9:30 in the morning?
They didn't sell any alcohol,
See,
Bob.
That's not even a matinee.
It's not even a matinee.
The matinee is afternoon, right?
It's breakfast at
Yeah.
AMC. $11.99. But you know what?
Senior discount?
I
stayed for 2 movies.
I am a senior, and he said that's $9.99.
There you go.
That's not what he said. He said, that's $9.99, sir.
So that was that had me juiced. And then finally, I was going to go to the Pro-Am today. I always like to go out to Muirfield for the honoree ceremony. This year it's going to be Bob Baptist going into journalism wing. And Barbara Nicholas is the Memorial Tournament honoree this year. But my mom called me last night. She said, Mark, I don't know what to do. My pill box is all screwed up. I said, I'll be up tomorrow,
The hat?
Mom. No, you don't need to come up here. And then she starts describing what's wrong. And I said, Mom, we'll be on the phone for 2 hours. You describing, well, this little white pill has a little slit in it, and the orange one, it's like, Mom, I can't do this. I'd have to use FaceTime. You don't know how to do FaceTime. I'll drive up in the morning after work.
Don't one of your siblings live up there close enough?
Yes,
that they
but I'm in charge of the drugs, Bob.
Well, we
I'm
all
in
knew
charge
that.
of her
For years.
medications.
Yes, we know that.
And she's on like 13 of them every day. So, yeah, that's what I get to do. Instead of going to the memorial today, I'm going up to see Mom.
Going
And
up
just
to give your
think,
mom some drugs.
Bobby,
Yes.
in about 2 years, they'll be like us. We try to talk to Shark. Shark won't know how to do FaceTime. He'll be asking us questions like that. Shark's right there on the
Shark's going to
precipice of
start
it.
his own YouTube show. The amount of knowledge he's gained in the last month.
And by the way, I didn't mulch Mom and Dad's lawn this year.
You want Heather to come over and help out?
$629.30. I paid to have it landscaped, edged, all the weeds taken out, trimmed, mulch laid.
Did it make you feel good?
My dad is going to flip when I say today, you owe me $629.
Wait, you're going to charge him for it?
I am.
Yeah,
I'm not
because he
paying
was
for
doing that for them for years.
For free.
Not for
I
free.
know.
It's his own sweat equity.
That's
I
right.
understand that, but you're going to turn around and make your dad pay that?
It's their house.
I understand, Shark, but you're a good son. Or so I thought.
I'm a great son. I lined up the landscaper for him. Tito, what has you juiced? You don't even do your own house. Shut up.
But I'm not going to send Heather a bill for it if I pay for it. I'm not going to do that to Heather. Look, I did the mulch. You owe me $629.
It's your house.
I wouldn't do that. Emily in the chat, by the way, told me that Chris Laux is playing out there. Who I love Chris Laux at the bogey spot.
At the tent.
At the tent. And then my favorite local band, Shuck and Bubba's going to be out there as well.
There you go.
And Shuck and Bubba with they do also the Elvis show. They do that one as well. They'll do like the Elvis tribute show around his birthday and around his the date of his.
I'm a North to Nashville fan when it comes to local bands.
Okay, that's fine. Now you're just. I know. Okay, we understand why, but. Yeah, Shuck and Bubba's great. Sons of Gladys is the like the spin-off band there, and they also do a Prince tribute. So I'm excited about all that. I'm excited about the Memorial. I love Memorial Week out here, and going to go out there tomorrow when I get off work here. I'm going to head out there tomorrow, I believe, with if Heather gets her yard work done, we will head out there for that. But we'll see how much she gets done today with the rain and everything. Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. Thank you in the chat for all of you guys for always being in here with us. We love that. We're back tomorrow. Morning Juice.
I'm Shanola Hampton. Every day, millions of people face hunger. Today, I will share with you some of their experiences. I'm stuck between paying for medications or paying for food. John from Maine. After paying my bills, I can buy groceries. It's sad to say, food comes last. Alice from Oregon. I thought pantries were for less fortunate people, but anybody could be less fortunate in a day or even a second. Claire from Virginia. The Feeding America network of food banks helps provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. No one should have to worry where their next meal will come from. Together, we can end hunger. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
My son Ian was diagnosed with a brain tumor at the age of 16 months. The outlook was pretty rough. I mean, it was, we had no hope until St. Jude rescued us. I mean, they saved him. To this date, we are 12 years into this journey, and from day one, we've never once seen a bill. It gave us the peace of mind to know that we're there with our son, and we're gonna beat cancer together. Now, he is doing really, really well. He's alive because of what St. Jude has done. He's here because of the doctors who came before, their blood, their sweat, their tears, the knowledge accumulated and shared, with everyone else around the world. This is how we get rid of this, how we help kids beat cancer all over. It's the future.
Together, we will make cures possible for every child everywhere. Learn more at stjude.org.
Teachers are dynamic leaders, shaping a new generation. They bring a variety of perspectives from diverse backgrounds, innovating how they teach to prepare students for our fast-changing world. Achieving this takes skill and expertise. They're tireless explorers, creatively discovering a universe of solutions, telling stories, experimenting, inspiring, mentoring, connecting cultures, and connecting with each other. Leading by example. Experience the unique joy of helping students thrive. Teaching is a journey that shapes lives. Are you ready to begin? Explore teaching at teach.org, a campaign supported by the U.S. Department of Education, Teach.org, and 1 million teachers of color.